we're gonna look at the differences between the Henry Homesteader and this Lone Wolf 9mm AR they call the G9. Now looking at these two, you might think those are wildly different rifles, right? But they basically function exactly the same. Okay. Put it, same magazine in the Lone Wolf. There we go. Finally figured out where it was sitting. Okay. So, both of these take Glock magazines. They're both semi-automatic, blowback, 9mm. You're not limited on capacity with these, as you can see. These are the biggest 9mm Glock magazines that I'm aware of. I think they have some drum magazines. So, unlimited capacity, whatever your heart desires. But they look very different, right? This would be something that the media would try to use to make gun owners look bad, and this is not, even though they both basically can accomplish the exact same task. But there are actually some advantages and disadvantages to each one, kind of depending on what you're looking for. The obvious elephant in the room between these two guns is, and what I'm kind of getting at with pointing out that they have the same exact functionality, is that some people would call this an assault rifle, right? A military style assault rifle, which that term is almost exclusively used to demonize our rights and the purpose of the Second Amendment. I'm not as afraid of the term assault rifle though as some gun owners can be, right? Because I think we kind of make a mistake when we try to differentiate the firearms that the average civilian has from what the military has as an effort to diffuse the media propaganda, because it is my belief that, and it is for a lot of other gun owners, that the purpose of the Second Amendment is that we have the same firearms that the military has. So I'm not really afraid of that term, because sure, we should have military style weapons. You know, the way I look at it, the military is using civilian style. It should be a civilian style rifle the military is using, right? So that's kind of how I look at it, but I don't really use that term. I would just call this an AR. There is a reason that you might prefer something like this over something like this, and it's not because you're afraid of an AR, right? If you collect guns, you probably like history a little bit, and even though this is not a historical design by Henry, it really looks like, if I didn't know anything about what this gun was and I just saw a photo of one, my brain is going to think, oh, probably you know, somewhere maybe it was made in like the early 1900s or late 1800s or something like that, right? It is a very classic looking design, and it feels nice, right? Look at that. It's got walnut stock on it, you know, nice American walnut. It looks really nice. It feels nice. It's ergonomic. You know, there's something nice about, you know, not having the big pistol grip like you have on an AR and the big kind of tall receiver. It's just very streamlined, right? You can put a shorter magazine in it if you want to, and you could even go shorter than that with a 10 round or even a 5 round, you know. So there's something kind of nice about that. And if you already have an AR, maybe chambered in 5.56 or 308 or whatever, you don't really feel like you need to justify something like this, right? You just want this gun to kind of plink and have fun with it. It is a 9mm after all. So just because you want this doesn't mean that you're like a FUD or a AR-15 hater, right? But there are some advantages to going in this direction. Also, you have a lot more options. So you have unlimited options for mounting things. It's familiar, right? If you're used to ARs, there's something to that. Also, there's a reason why AR-15 platforms, AR platforms are popular. They're easy to shoot, they're ergonomic. When I picked this up versus that one, even in the beginning of the video, I mean, I did feel like I could hit with this a little bit easier. It took me a minute to get zeroed in over there. But it's a very comfortable feeling gun, because that's why they're popular. One thing too, back to the assault rifle versus friendly looking gun thing. One of the characteristics I know back in the early crime bill days was the pistol grip, right? That somehow that makes the gun more capable or something like that. I always thought that was really dumb. First of all, no one is shooting from the hip if they plan on hitting anything. I don't know where that came from. I actually saw something on the news where a former ATF agent or active ATF agent was saying that they shoot from the hip in combat. Like, how insane is that, right? Like, all right, I'm gonna shoot both of these from the hip and show you that it does not matter if you have a pistol grip or if you have more of a traditional rifle stock. You're not gonna be able to hit very much with either one. Eventually you can hit something, but it takes a little while. Okay, let's try the other one. Yeah, I mean, I might have gotten less hits, but that was totally random. It's not any different at all, and you guys know that. I mean, that is absurd. Another thing that you would stand to gain from going with an AR platform and 9mm is, you know, you've got the adjustable stock with this, right? You know, so that's pretty nice. It makes it more convenient, whereas you don't have that kind of option with this. I mean, you can put an extender on there or a recoil pad or something like that if you need to. But you just have more options with this. Another thing too is, if you guys remember several years back when 22 ARs were becoming popular, the 22 long rifle, there was some idea that maybe it was a way to get some training in for a lot cheaper. But then very quickly a lot of people came out and said, oh no, that's not going to work, because it's just such a different feel. It's a 22 long rifle versus a 5.56. It's too different. And I don't have any expertise on that, but I tend to believe that. But when you're talking about 9mm, it's still cheaper than 5.56 by today's prices, and it actually has a little bit more recoil than a 5.56. So I think if you were looking for a way to get in some practice with an AR type rifle, 9mm I think would be at least closer to that than obviously something like 22, because 9 is still quite a bit cheaper than 5.56. But you know, back to the Homesteader, there's still something neat about a rifle like this. Again, if I want an AR, if I don't have a lot of guns and I need an AR, I'm probably going to get a rifle caliber AR. If I want a 9mm to just kind of have some fun with and plink, there's something nice about this. You know, just the wood alloy receiver, but still like the wood and steel, wood and metal, right? Look, it's classic. It reminds us of old guns, and I think that's kind of what, of course, Henry was trying to achieve with this thing.